Welcome to World of Marketing Podcast, a Foster Web Marketing production. Here's your host, Tom Foster.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the World of Marketing, where I, Tom Foster, talk with legal leaders about marketing, mindset, and the growth of law firm businesses. This episode is brought to you by my own company, Foster Web Marketing. Since the internet was born, Foster Web Marketing has been the premier provider of customized websites, marketing, video, and strategic marketing solutions for elite law firms. Our unparalleled web technology and marketing systems set the gold standard in the industry, catering exclusively to a discerning clientele who demand the best. Partner with Foster Web Marketing to experience uncompromising quality, cutting-edge technology, and exceptional service. Visit fosterwebmarketing.com to discover how we can help you achieve your most ambitious goals and solidify your position at the forefront of your field. Today is my great honor to have as my guest, Tracy Enos. In 2015, Tracy sustained severe burns in a freak accident, which led to 5 surgeries and a struggle with depression. Despite these challenges, LinkedIn became her lifeline. From her hospital bed, she leveraged her network to keep her businesses afloat and thrive, generating $3,000 in coaching fees while in the burn unit. Today, Tracy works with business professionals and entrepreneurs who are serious about elevating their presence and impact. Working with over 200 industries, Tracy tailors strategies that translate your expertise into visible, profitable outcomes. Well, Tracy, welcome to the podcast, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Tom. Been waiting for this for a couple weeks now.
Yeah. And so tell me a little bit about what happened, like back in 2015.
June 7th, it was on a Tuesday at 5:30 a.m. And I was getting back into the gym and I was meal prepping. And I had a fight with a boiling pot of brown rice pasta and my sink and a colander, and you can take a guess who won.
Wow.
So, yep, landed in the ER that morning. And they told me to wait to go see my primary care. I'm not sure why they didn't send me to the burn unit, but my primary care couldn't get in till the following Monday. And she took one look at me and says, I am calling, the following Tuesday. So it'd been a whole week since I'd had the burns, and she goes, I'm calling the burn unit immediately. And I got in for my first surgery the following Wednesday morning. So, wow. And so 3rd degree burns, which they thought was just like a $50 size, ended up being about 5 inches long underneath my left arm. And they took the graft from my leg.
Oh, wow.
For it. Yeah. And I was burned on both hands, both arms, but the left arm underneath got the brunt of it. So.
Wow. And so how did you... Well, good for you that you made it through all of that. And, here you are. So how did you go with all this going on? Most people would be like, okay, I'm taking some time off, but you have your own business, right? You have to run your own business.
And I was a single mother. So I still had 2 young boys. I had one who was 15 and one who was 12.
Wow.
And so, life doesn't stop when something happens, right? So, what was really nice is, and I don't recommend anybody do this, so don't take this as good advice, but I sold a $3,000 coaching contract under morphine. So,
wow.
So I was all souped up on morphine. I don't recommend anybody do that.
Well, I don't know, man, if you could do it, right? Yeah.
But that actually helped me stay afloat for a couple months while I navigated, healing and whatnot. And then the following October, this is when LinkedIn had the Pulse channels, and they would give you like monthly hashtags to write about. And I wrote about, I think October was 2015 was productivity hacks. And at the time, this doesn't work anymore, but at the time, Evernote and LinkedIn had a syncing option. And so I had gone down some rabbit hole and found this fella on YouTube, and he talked about Evernote. And then I added LinkedIn, and I was like, this would be a great article. And so I used, gave him credit and used his video on YouTube in the article. And lo and behold, within a matter of a few days, I had 1,200 connection requests. I had like 2,000 likes on this article or this post. I mean, it was in the newsfeed, not the actual post itself or article itself. And then, so my LinkedIn blew up, and not to mention, I ended up in Google and under the keyword productivity hacks above Richard Branson's article under productivity hacks. I was pretty proud of myself.
Yeah, no
So
kidding.
that made me realize at the time that LinkedIn, actually, their articles were getting indexed by Google. And I had no idea at that time. And so, so it was pretty cool. And that just, that article alone with 2 hours worth of work made me like 5 figures in new clients. And it just kept going from there. So, that wasn't my start to LinkedIn. It was just that I'd built the foundation prior to that tragic accident that kept my business afloat.
So, most of the people listening to this are lawyers and doctors. So, how would you recommend a lawyer and doctors using LinkedIn?
Well, as a matter of fact, I've worked with several over the course of years, and they didn't used to be a very active bunch.
Yeah.
But now it's becoming evident that they are, and more are using it. And more specifically, not general, type of attorneys, but more specific, niche specific, like personal injury or estate or probate or real estate or those kind of attorney verticals. And it all starts with foundation, which in my experience, most attorneys and doctors still get wrong, is building out your profile. They still want to, treat it like it's a resume. I don't know why I'm still saying this. It's 2024, but they still are. I call that so 2011. Right. And they're still treating it like it's all about them. Well, that's important because people want to know your expertise and your authenticity and on the subject matter. But at the end of the day, they want to know about you. It is a personal profile. It is not your CV or your resume. And you must treat it as such, especially if you're using LinkedIn in any capacity for marketing.
100%. They still do it with their bio pages, right? Their biography pages on their website. So just put their CV in there, which is really only good for other lawyers because nobody knows what that stuff means. No regular person knows what all that is in there.
Yeah, absolutely. But, that is still key for other lawyers too, because look, you want to build your network to receive referrals, right? You want to start networking with other attorneys that aren't in your space, but that would be good referral partners.
Yeah, sure.
Or even doctors.
You still got to personalize it. You still got to personalize it, right? Because people make decisions based on emotion, and you can have all the data in there, but you need to have emotional connection for people. Even referrals, right? They want to work with somebody that has had a lot of wins, has a lot of connection with their clients, right? You got to look good story.
So I had a client in Maryland who was a PI attorney, and he did 2 things. He specialized in burns. So he was a burn PI attorney. And he also specialized in the Hispanic market, which really reduced his marketing budget because I don't know if this is still true to this day, but I grew up in San Jose, California. So quite the melting pot. And I had a lot of Hispanic friends. And if you got in good with grandma would tell everybody in the family about you, right? Right. Therefore, there's no need to really, use your money. Because lawyers spend a lot of money on marketing.
Oh, yeah.
They do, billboards and commercials and whatnot. But he capitalized on a market and got in good with the Hispanic community and really reduced his marketing fees by 2/3. Wow, and so we took it to LinkedIn, and what he ended up doing is we told stories.
Yeah.
So what folks don't realize is LinkedIn has a lot of sections that you're probably not utilizing, one being project section. And for most people, they're going to use that in the traditional way where they're going to say, I collaborated on this project at work with, another, colleague, right? But how we have reverse engineered it is we take your about summary and we show people, hey, go check out our project section and see some of our case studies. And so what we did is we went in there. Obviously, we wanted to, make sure that we didn't name names. We just did industry and titles. And we go in there and we tell a story of, some of his case studies that he had. Not being boastful, but, it draws in people. It really shows your expertise and your authority on the subject matter when you tell a story.
Yeah, 100%. That's the key is, and that's what I told, when we're talking about adding content to their website, you want to have, here's what you do, but you want to tell stories about how you've helped people, whether they're, your clients, if you're a law firm, or your patients, how you've helped them. And that's what connects people to you is that storytelling. And most of them still just put down what they do instead of, stories of how they helped, in what they do. I mean, I'm not saying don't put down what you do, but you want to elaborate on it, on how you've helped others.
Right. It's much like, what was the saying that there's a lawyer on every corner, or is that the fast food chain? I forgot.
Lawyers for
so,
sure.
I mean, what differentiates you from the next guy in your town? Right. And so, for many it's like a Google review, right? So if somebody even gives you a referral, or you're going and looking on Google for yourself and not a referral from a friend or family member, you're going to go look at their reviews, right? So LinkedIn is very much like that. It's a perception of, can you do the job? Will you get results for me if I hire you? And that is where I feel that, it's lacking in not just, lawyers or doctors' profiles, but for many people using LinkedIn, right? And it's not just the lawyer, but how about your staff members? We want to showcase, company culture. And we want to see the people that work in your office, right? Because oftentimes those people are going to be the face of the company, right? Not just the attorney themselves.
Yeah, 100%. And they should interview them. They should have them on video, because a lot of times that's who they work with most of the time, right?
Absolutely.
Your paralegals, 100%. So how do you connect lawyers' websites with LinkedIn, or do you at all? Do you think that's the way to go, or is LinkedIn a completely different animal?
Your LinkedIn profile allows you to add links or buttons, call to actions. There's several places you can do it. Some of them are clickable, some of them are not. That still doesn't mean you shouldn't add them, right? Let's start for your background banner. Right? Let's say it's not necessarily just your website, but maybe you have some sort of landing page or that offers something to the potential client or referral partner. So you want to drive people to that so that you can capture their email address, so that you can market to them off of social media, off of LinkedIn. So at the end of the day, you're renting your LinkedIn profile. Those people that you're in your network are all rented connections. But by getting their email and getting them off of LinkedIn, now you own that list. So if anything were to happen, you got your LinkedIn account suspended or shut down, whether it's temporarily or permanently, which has happened, and it does happen, you still have your list. You own that list.
Right.
And so, I mean, putting your company's website is great. That's a starting point. But I feel LinkedIn, you should take it 1, 2, 3 steps further and start being able to have pages where you can capture people's information and market to them as well, on and off of LinkedIn.
So how do you compare LinkedIn to the other social media channels like Facebook and Instagram?
I'm not saying other social media channels aren't important. They are. I do think that you're going to capture more customers as opposed to referral partners on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. Those are very visual platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, LinkedIn does have a news feed, and yes, LinkedIn does have the ability to put rich media in your profiles, and you should do that for authority and expertise. But at the end of the day, LinkedIn is best used as a business to business platform. So you really need to strategically sit down and define who's a good referral partner and
Sure.
start building your networks with referral partners.
Yeah, and this works great for lawyers and doctors that are constantly referring, and all their best clients come from referrals. And this shouldn't frustrate you, right? This shouldn't frustrates a lot of lawyers. I get all my great cases from referrals. Yeah, and that means good things. It means you're doing a good job, and there are also, they're going to be easier clients to work with, and the most, because they kind of, because they're referred to you, that know, like, trust is transferred from whoever is that lawyer or doctor that's referring to you. So I'm always about that. That's like 2/3 of your business is going to come from referrals.
Come from referrals. Absolutely. And, a lot of times people are like, well, I don't want to work the referrals because, I send introductions all the time and nothing ever happens. Well, just like, a customer, you've got to nurture that relationship as well.
And they're so much easier. They're so much easier to do than new clients from the web that don't know you at all, right?
Right.
That's the thing, is like they've been, everybody has been seduced by vanity keywords and Google AdWords, and like, oh, it's so easy just to get #1 for, Delaware personal injury lawyer, and then you got it made, and it's not true at all. It's not. It's just it's a game that's been played on them when they should be focusing on getting referrals, having a website with landing pages that speak to these referrals, right? They should have a path for them, which should be a different entrance than just like LinkedIn is built for that, right? It's built for more of that than anything else. So
Yeah.
you and I, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, when I first started my marketing business way back in the day, it was digital marketing. It's not LinkedIn consulting like I'm doing today. I kind of fell into that by accident, only because I couldn't find clients in my own backyard here in Kansas City. Like, nobody wanted to pay me. I'm going to chamber meetings, BNI, other private network meetings, and I'm not getting any clients. So I turned to LinkedIn, and that's when I started getting clients, was on LinkedIn all across the country and then eventually across the globe. But it's like networking on steroids. It's like, I don't know about you all, but I'm a girl. So I have to get dressed up. I got to do my face. I got to do my hair. And then I got to go travel to the location, spend my time doing that, right? That takes some extra time to do that. Whereas I can sit behind the comfort of my screen, my laptop, and I can go network on steroids behind my screen and not be on camera. Now, eventually I get on camera when I meet these people, but, for the most part, I can do 10 times what I could do in the amount of time it took me to get ready and go to this local event. Right.
Right. And so you work, like, how many clients are you working with now?
Well, it depends on the capacity. So a lot of times that we do, a lot of just branding for customers, and we do their profile makeovers or company page makeovers. A lot of times we coach their teams to do it for themselves. And then we have consulting basis, so I have probably about 10 that I'm working with right now in some sort of capacity, whether it's done for you or done with you or on a consulting basis.
Do you have a team that works with you? Or
I have designers, and I don't have employees, and I have certain team members for certain tasks. But I will say this, Tom, I'm real particular about profiles. I do the writing on the profiles. I really got to, feel my client, and I love doing it. So it's, I've tried hiring out, but people just don't understand the way that I do it and don't do it the way that I do it. I'm very picky. Call that the perfectionist in me, I guess. So that's the one thing I don't hand off to anybody else.
That's great. and I know that we're going to be working with you. We met a few weeks ago,
Right.
and you gave us some. You came highly referred yourself by Mitch Levin, who I have great respect for, and uh, you gave us some great tips. I'm wondering if you could share those again with.
I talked a lot. I've slept since then, Tom. What is it that you would like me to share? I'd love to share it with your audience.
Yeah, I think it was just that like what you said is that the profile
Mm.
is the key ingredient, and that everybody focuses on the wrong thing. That they're focusing on, like, and it's so it can be so insidious, right? Like everybody's like after everybody, and you've got to be pretty clever. Don't you? Don't you need to be pretty clever on LinkedIn to get people's attention?
You do. There's a lot of bad actors out there. Trust
Right.
me.
Yeah.
And I don't mean just across the pond or overseas. I mean even here in the States, right? And so people are getting bad advice all the time, and then they're taking that advice, and then they're turning around going, "Well, LinkedIn doesn't work."
Well,
Well,
what is
you're
the worst
getting
thing that you
bad.
can do? What's the worst thing that you can do on LinkedIn that
Well,
can?
first of all, not optimizing your profile, your company page, and then going out and marketing. Just like I mentioned, just a little bit ago about Google reviews, right? Why would you throw a lot of money at your marketing if you have no reviews or if you have bad reviews? It's the
Right.
same thing with LinkedIn. Why are you going out and using your profile? Because 99% of your activities on LinkedIn are tied to your profile. So company pages are starting to get some more features that you can use your company page, like commenting on other people's posts as your company page in the news feed. That's a benefit. And there's some paid features now that's brand new that you can grow your company pages. But at the end of the day, people do business with people,
Right.
right? They're doing business with you. So their first impression is your profile. It is the perception or perceived notion that they know, like, and trust you, and that
Right.
you can help them and you can deliver results,
Yeah.
right? Well, how do we do that? Well, it's right there. It's your profile. So we shouldn't, the first thing is stop talking all about you. Is your work history important? Yes. Are your, how you got to where you are today, that story important? Yes. But at the end of the day, when somebody lands on your profile, they want to know what's in it for them.
Right.
How can you help me? How can you solve my problem? And this is the biggest mistake that people make. They don't optimize their profile for that. So it works for a couple things. One, it showcases your expertise and your authority, right? And the trust. And secondly, it's going to pre-qualify that person, right? So you're not getting a bunch of, people wanting to set up meetings with you, and their intent is to really not work with you,
Right.
right?
Yeah. And most lawyers, well, all businesses, they make themselves out to be the hero, where it's your client, it's your customer, it's your patient who is the hero in the story. And you're merely the guide to help them with whatever their problem is. And, but most professional, they've got big egos, and they go right in like, look at me, this is everything that, and instead of like, here's everything I've done this, I've won this money, I got this case. But it should be in the form of the client's journey, right?
Correct.
The
Absolutely.
client's journey, and that's what's going to get people to choose you. Is, yeah, you were part of the client's journey to success, but it wasn't your journey, right? It wasn't the lawyer or the doctor's journey. Like the client and the patient had to go through it.
Yeah. Like we won $2 million for this client, right? Well, that's all well and good. And that got my attention.
Right.
But, what was the story behind
What
that?
was the story? And
Mm-hmm.
also to what you were just saying earlier, if you're just putting that alone, like in your LinkedIn profile and your website, like $2 million case, $5 million settlement, and you don't give any background to those, then you're going to get a bunch of people that, they stub their toe and they want $2 million, right?
Exactly. They're not pre-qualified.
Right. You don't pre-qualify them, right? And you've got to tell that story. Interesting. You talked about your PI lawyer in Maryland that specialized in burns. We have a client, Kenny Berger, who is down in Columbia, South Carolina, who just got a $26 million settlement from a burn injury.
Wow.
For this kid. Like, it was this 3-year-old kid that was in one of those big lazy rivers, and he got the chlorine burns because they weren't treating the water. They were like fudging the numbers, and they weren't even actually testing the water, and then just dumping more chlorine. And a lot of people have complained about it over the years, but it's a big resort, and they didn't do anything. And then, and when they first of all, when he first got the case, these people live in North Carolina. They were vacationing in South Carolina, in Myrtle Beach, and they did a search for burn injury, and they found his page. He's not even in Myrtle Beach. He's in Columbia. But they found his page, which was all about burn injuries and their experience with that. And that's ultimately why the client hired him. And also, he didn't even know it was going to be that kind of case. He thought it was like, maybe, some damages or whatever, but he had no idea it was going to be that big until he started doing the due diligence and discovery on the case, and found that they had been doing this for years. And the pool guy like confessed it, and anyway, brought $26 million settlement. It's not bad.
That's great.
Big reward for the family that wasn't even into it for the money. They just wanted, justice, really. And they got it.
Well, and not to mention, future medical bills.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
yeah, exactly. And, but that's, just proves our point about how you got to tell the story. It's not good enough for you just to put down, here's what I do. Because there's a lot of attorneys that put down, here's what I do, burned injury, but they didn't give any more detail and more story about it, and get to the emotion of it.
So, and that should actually spill over into the next thing. Look, everybody's like, well, I'm going to make, get all my leads doing content. I'm going to be honest with you. Content is great, and you should be doing some content. But at the end of the day, content is not where your leads are going to come from. It is going to take you, especially on LinkedIn, anywhere between 12 months and 4 years to get your content rolling for you. I'm not saying that you're not going to get some quick wins, because it can happen. But if you don't have a network, your content's not going to get seen. So you got to build out your network. You got to have, at least 1,000 connections, to really get seen. But you got to develop relationships, right? Content is important, but that should not be the first thing. After, building out the foundation and optimizing your profile and your company page for organic reach through keywords, copywriting, and stories, putting the human behind it, right? Who are you beyond work? Your organizations, your volunteer work, honors, awards, if you have any licenses, education, all that fun stuff. Content can expand on what you can't add to your profile. So you've got some areas in your profile to put rich media, like your videos or your podcast interviews or your case studies and whatnot. You still need to do more, right? Because you got to get seen, because when you start doing content, people are if they're curious, it's going to drive them back to your profile. And so your profile is going to get viewed, right? Your company page is going to get viewed. That's your ultimate goal. That's how you're going to sell somebody. However, I wouldn't start with content. I would start with building relationships and building out your network with your referral partners, people that are going to refer you.
So how do you build relationships on LinkedIn?
So I love this tool. It's called Sales Navigator, and it is LinkedIn's tool. And Sales Navigator has, over 30, 40 filters between the leads and accounts that you can go in and refine your search and find the right people that you want to build a relationship with, who would be good referral partners for you, right? So if a referral partner, geographically is more local, then I would start building out your network with local people that would be good fits for referral partners, right? And then start engaging with them. And, first send them a connection request. Now, I got some people that say that they never put a personal note into a connection request. For me, 99% of the time, I put in a personal note. People want to know, why is it that you want to connect with me? Because there's a lot of garbage and there's a lot of spam and there's a lot of scam on LinkedIn. Sure. So why do you want to connect with me? Give them a good reason, right? And then once they connect with you, don't just take that for granted. Go in there and start a conversation, right? So like you would at any other, in-person event, right? Start a conversation. And the last thing you should do is pitch your services, because they're going to tune you out in 2 seconds flat. You got to make sure, and this is challenging in these days, that you do something different that everybody else is doing so that you stand out in their inbox. So start asking them questions. I always go in and thank them for connecting with me. And I'm honored, because I am honored, because I've got a big network and I can make introductions to almost anybody who asks me for an introduction, because I know somebody in my LinkedIn that could probably help them. Right. Wow. So, and then I start, you got to define what your goal is. Why are you using LinkedIn? Why are you reaching out? What is your, business objective and your goal for using LinkedIn? Is it just to set it and forget it, which you shouldn't do? And then when somebody Googles you, then their LinkedIn profile and company page will show up. I mean, I've got some clients that do just that, just for branding purposes only. But if you really want to utilize the power of LinkedIn, you want to build your network and nurture relationships. And at the end of the day, look, people aren't dumb. They know that you're going to ask them to do something when you connect with them, right? What's that ask? Is it, let's go for a cup of coffee. Let's do a Zoom meeting, get on my webinar, attend my event, go get my ebook, whatever it is, right? People know that you're going to ask, but don't go straight for the jugular the minute that you connect with them. Find out, what is it that they need? What is it that they want? Do some sort of pattern interrupt. And that could be very easy. You could find something in their profile that you like. Maybe you have a university in common, or geography, right? LinkedIn is going to tell you if you guys have mutual connections in common. Mm-hmm. Hey, how do you know Tom Foster? That's a great question to start a conversation, right? Hey, I'm connected to Tom Foster too. How do you know him? That starts that conversation. And when you start that warm conversation, and when somebody feels like that you care about them instead of caring about yourself,
right,
they're more likely going to respond back. And then just, lead that question into, if you want them to be a really good referral partner. This is what happened to me with my friend Bob Lovely, and we remained colleagues until he passed away last May. And we're local, both Kansas City, and he just sent me a connection request on LinkedIn based off of somebody we both knew. And that's simply what he asked me. It was November of 2012, because I just gotten laid off for the second time from corporate America, and his timing couldn't have been better. And he went and treated me, came up to here to my suburb of Kansas City, and took me to Applebee's for lunch. And we started our conversation there, and we became lifelong colleagues. I would send him clients. He would refer me clients. He came to my house for Christmas and Thanksgivings because he was a single guy, and went to my kids' ball games and stuff. We became true friends, but we sent referrals to each other.
Nice.
And that's really how it starts, is building a genuine connection with somebody. And I really think that is where most people fall flat on LinkedIn.
I agree with you, because I certainly get, my experience with LinkedIn has, like I told you, I don't know that I've gotten a lot of business from LinkedIn, probably because I haven't done it well. Well, I know that I haven't done it well, like you were telling me, but the messages that I get, that I respond to, is always a personal message. Like they know something about me, or like my biggest contribution to LinkedIn is I do like Music Break Monday, where I just do a song, every week and post it, a cover of a song or an original, just me playing the guitar, and put it up there, and come what may. And I get a lot of compliments on it. And, sometimes I'll get somebody that will reach out and message me about it. And I'll pay attention to that, of course, because they're stroking my ego. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to listen to this guy, this person, right? And you're right. That's the way to get them, not just another, like most of them are, it's obvious that they're just in it for themselves, right? They're
Right.
in it for themselves, and everybody is in the end, but you don't want to come across that way like in the beginning.
No, not at all. And that's what I said. Be real with somebody. Don't
Mhm.
look, as long as I've been on LinkedIn, okay, I've been on LinkedIn since 2009, but I've been really active in LinkedIn since 2012.
Mm.
And people are still doing the same garbage mass, mass messaging and mass connections, even with LinkedIn's latest, limits of 100 connection requests a week. I'm still seeing the same garbage being spewed from, 10 years ago. I
Yeah, of
can't believe people are still doing this, and they're teaching it. And because there's a billion people on LinkedIn, people are still falling for the garbage,
course. Same with web.
right?
Same stuff on the web, right? They
Well,
fall for
people
the
don't
same
like,
garbage.
they don't want, they think, well, I need money right now.
Right. They're not. Marketing is hard,
It
and
is.
you have to build a relationship, right? You can't expect marketing to work overnight, no matter what you do. Even
Mm-mm.
though there's a lot of snake oil salesmen in our business that promise, overnight success, and guarantee it and all this stuff, and it never works. It never works uh, in the way that they say, and it just requires hard work. It really does,
Oh
and
yeah.
you got to fail half the time to succeed.
Oh, I would say the majority of my messages do not hit home runs,
Right.
and then I
Yeah.
just learn, okay, now that message didn't work. Let's try
Right.
another one.
You got to go. It's not that marketing doesn't work,
Right.
right? You got to just keep trying, and that particular message didn't work, didn't. But maybe it was the timing. Maybe something was going on. You should have been talking about something else more relevant. But there's all kinds of things, and
Right. I just love how, and this still happens to this day, that somebody goes and takes a course and then all of a sudden they're an expert, because
oh
these
my
experts are like, well, probably, twice as much as the person that you're trying to train. What I kind of agree with that comment. I don't know if that was Tony Robbins or that said that, or Dean Grazioso or Dane Kennedy. I don't know. But at the end of the day, for the most part, they're not in the trenches every day doing this every day. So I'm not saying that you can't be new to something and then try and teach somebody else, because you can do that, but you got to be in the trenches and solve problems. And if you haven't come up to, if those problems have never arisen at all, how do you know how to solve them?
right.
Right. I'm not saying there's not other good like LinkedIn trainers out there besides me. There are, and some that haven't been in there as long as I have, and that's fine. But for somebody to just, like you said, in your industry, it happens a lot. Somebody takes a marketing course and in 30 days, they think they're an expert, and then they give
Yeah.
a lot of bad advice.
Yep. Exactly. Yep. And they're using fancy cheap tools, right, to like get a lot of the hard work done. And especially now with AI, AI is really mucking things up for marketers out there. And like you don't really know. It's so deceptive. Because it's sounds so factual. You're like, wow, this is a real deal, and then you find out it's just nonsense, right?
Well,
You find out
even
AI,
LinkedIn has AI.
right?
And if you have a profile and you are a premium member, you get the opportunity to beef up your profile using LinkedIn's AI. Can I tell you something? it's garbage. It's
Yeah,
true garbage.
yeah.
So you
Most of them
paid a premium, have a premium profile for that. There's other benefits to having a premium profile besides the AI. I will just say that. But you get insights and things like that.
Sure.
And you get certain sections like the services sections, which acts like a Google review type. It just sits up higher in your profile than the recommendations section. But those are beneficial for being a premium member. But as far as the AI concerned, LinkedIn's got a long way to go.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to prompt AI, garbage in, garbage out.
Right, exactly. And it's kind of scary. Like Zoom here that we're on has the AI assistant that transcribes the meeting, right?
Right.
I don't know if you've ever read a transcription of the Zoom.
Yeah, I have Firefly's AI
Yeah.
on mine, and it does an okay job. I mean, it doesn't capture everything.
Whatever Zoom is using, maybe it'll get better, but like everything that I'm like, what? That's not even what we said. And it's like saying the wrong, like somebody said there, people there that weren't there saying that we didn't even talk about that. Anyway, it's just crazy dealing with that.
I haven't used it, that AI companion on Zoom. I use Fireflies.
Yeah. Well,
So,
you don't need to, at least for some time until they get
for
it.
now.
So Tracy, how does somebody get to work with you? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, like I tell everybody, just let's follow me on LinkedIn. Don't just follow me, just connect with me. I still have some connections left, because if you follow somebody, you actually cannot engage with each other in the inbox. So all you see when you follow somebody is their content in the newsfeed.
Oh,
So to truly build a relationship, you should connect. And
okay.
so connect with me at Tracy Enos, and that's last name spelled Enos. Any of you who are Dukes of Hazzard fans, Enos from Dukes of Hazzard. Any of you
Yeah.
a little older and are a big baseball fan, you got Enos Slaughter from the Cardinals. So there's my analogy.
There you go. Well, Tracy, thank you so much for your time today.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I would love to give your audience a freebie. Can I do that?
Please. Yeah, that's great.
Yes. So you can go to the ultimateprofilechecklist.com and grab my 31-point profile checklist. It is not currently up to date because LinkedIn just the last couple months made a couple changes, premium profiles being one of them, and they got rid of creator mode. And there's a couple other little things, but for the most part, it is got everything in there. Hints, tips. I don't just do a checklist of this. I give you reasons why you should fill out or how to fill out each section. So
That's great. The ultimate, what ultimate?
The ultimate, you have to put the in front of it. The ultimateprofilechecklist.com.
The ultimateprofilechecklist.com, everybody. Go get that and get to work on it. Because I know we will if we haven't already. I know
Not
that
yet. We haven't yet.
I know that I got my people on it. Well, Tracy, thank you again for doing this podcast. It's been wonderful to get to know you better. And everybody, she's fantastic. You want to work with somebody with experience, and Tracy's got it. So she's been around the block and has worked with a lot of lawyers and doctors that can help you too. So Tracy, thank you so much.
Thanks, Tom. I appreciate it.
Okay, everybody. Been Tom and Tracy on the World of Marketing. Have a great day.